All right, we are officially live with the first episode of whatever the heck we're going to name this in the future.
Wonderful.
I didn't have enough time to actually kind of sit down and think of a name, but welcome to the first episode of the HTE Game Dev podcast. So,
hello.
Hey.
Today I've got my very good friends Rourke and Sam, who are both in the indie game dev space. And we're going to, basically the format of the show is we're going to be chatting about either a specific game, or we're just going to be chatting about things that are happening in the indie space, and in the game dev space in general, potentially, and have, some little gameplay happening in the background. Right now we have some Noita.
This is Wukong Black Myth running on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
See, I am the Monkey King himself.
This is what happens when you turn the game resolution slider like all the way down.
I really do enjoy that nitrate, like limitless detail.
Yeah. Don't know if that's what it's called, but yeah. So we're gonna play some Tony Hawk's here. But yeah. So what are we talking about today, Petey?
Right. So today I saw this week that Black Myth Wukong, which I haven't heard about for a little while, has started work, or they ported the game over to Unreal Engine 5. I'm not sure when. I assume that they did it recently because people haven't had access to the engine. So yeah. I guess that's kind of a testament to the fact that it seems like it's relatively easy to port existing UE4 projects over to 5. But it's a game that's been in development for quite a while. Let me actually look up exactly how long it is. Been in development. And it's being done by the developers are a company called Game Science. I don't actually know too much about them.
What have they worked on before? Does it say there?
I'm just having a look quickly. I don't think they've done anything prior.
Well, it's out of a start then.
Yeah, but it might be a collection of... It's very ambitious, but it looks like they're doing a really good job. So the game is a Souls-like. And it's kind of themed around the Monkey King legend. And it's got some very, very interesting art and design work going on.
Yeah, for an indie game, though, it's obviously a testament to the team, but like also the engine. It just looks incredible.
They have done another game.
It would be more on the level of AA, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of, that's actually what I was kind of thinking about. Is like that. It seems to be there's like a lot of blurring of the lines between indie and like AAA, like professional productions.
Yeah.
Productions.
Is there a hard definition for AA or AAA?
Productions.
Is there a hard definition? Like Hellblade would be considered AA. I think that's like the.
I was still like Killing Floor was like AA.
Even I think Hellblade. Well, like Hellblade, the original, the first Hellblade, I would say is definitely AA because you can definitely tell it was made by a small studio. Like you can see the menus aren't as like polished and nice. There's certain elements of the game that are lacking, but they had like a core thing that they were trying to push forward, which I find is kind of often a pretty common thing for indie studios. They'll like focus onto one aspect. So in terms of Hellblade, it was the facial capture techniques and like how do you make capturing an actor's performance a lot better, which I think they did a really good job with.
Definitely. Oh shit.
But I would argue that Hellblade 2 when it comes out would be more AAA. Now that they've had,
I mean they've got a lot of support from Epic now. They've gotten grants from Epic now, so I think it's shit. Sorry, I can't think and I can't speak and play games at the same time, so don't mind me. I'm just a potato man. But yeah, they have gotten support from Epic now. They've gotten a mega grant, which is essentially just a way to throw money at people. And yeah, they have souped up production wonderfully. Like they
Yeah,
are
from what I've
pioneering the
seen,
real-time production in Unreal Engine, and it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like that real-time production stuff, I think it's kind of gonna blur the line between games and movies. I feel like when it really starts kicking off, because you're gonna have the like traditional motion capture stuff happening, but you're also gonna have those like the stuff that they did for the Mandalorian, where you have those screens and you're like projecting a real-time landscape, in camera.
Yeah,
which is insane.
It's wonderful.
And yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting future, I think, in that space.
I think that AAA companies, not in terms of developers, but like publishers and things, are starting to take indies a bit more seriously, because it's like kind of well known that AAAs don't really take design risks, and they often repeat themselves. But then there's just indies.
Well, it's because there's so much
like,
more. There's so much more pressure on them from companies that are expecting the game to do well.
But then if they pump, what for an indie is a lot of money, but like for their company a little bit of money into something it's like Risk of Rain 2. They were published by Gearbox, so I mean it's probably nothing for Gearbox to do that, but it's really helpful for the company to pull this indie, which has a lot of hype behind it, especially because the first one was well received and stuff. Like pushing out I don't know, it's the follow-up of an indie game. I don't know, gives them a lot more confidence in the project, I guess.
Yeah. No, but for sure. Also you can see that in the Risk of Rain scenario, because I mean they're going from 2D to 3D. So there's a lot of new stuff that they have to figure out. Yeah, exactly.
But I've also seen examples lately, speaking about like blurring the lines between indie and AAA, of like a good example is 12 Minutes, which just came out on Thursday. It's an indie game, and it's one developer.
Yeah,
it's like Willem Dafoe and James McAvoy. Like it's got like serious cast, but it's still one developer. And I'm not sure if he has a publisher or not. I haven't checked, but like there
if he
definitely...
didn't have a publisher, how did he get?
Yeah, that's
big names.
Yeah,
he's got dirt on the wall.
Well, I just think it means like, I don't know, small good ideas. So like speak loudly sometimes.
Yeah, I hope it was basically just one dude who managed to get the attention of that like caliber of actor.
Well, I mean, I would assume like agents and stuff were probably involved, but but like that's an example of a game where it's clearly indie. Like there's no blurred lines of it being some bigger project.
Yeah,
but it's still got really big names involved, which is interesting to see.
I think it can sometimes, backfire a little bit. Just kind of when something is an indie game, but it gets hyped up a little bit too much, and expectations are a bit too high. I think the one project that kind of had that recently was The Ascent, that released on Xbox on Game Pass. Like it was a big game. Like Xbox and Microsoft were pushing the game, and hyping people up. And I don't think it was everything that people were expecting it to be. I don't think it was a bad game. I definitely don't think it was a bad game. But like the level of like voice acting quality and like all of those like smaller things that you take for granted in a big project, they weren't at that level for that project. So
do you think that's a side effect of publishers hyping things no matter what? And like if that had been a project, it might have been better received if it was a project that was less hyped.
No, for sure, because the same thing happened with No Man's Sky. That was an indie project, and suddenly they got shoved onto the stage at E3, and they're like, everyone's like, minds are like blown by the scope of this project, and everybody like, I think like Sean Murray, you know, for all the good that he has done, like he's stuck with the project and he's made it a good game. But I think obviously he had like so much passion for the project, but I don't think it was realistic to say what he said like in those early days.
It does sound like more of a publisher thing to say.
Yeah.
Like
no, but I think yeah. So I think what was he like? There was no filter, right? Because they didn't have a marketing department or anything. It was literally like 5 people in an office. So he had no filter or nobody to kind of tell him, hey, you know, maybe don't say all of these like big promises when you don't know if you can deliver them yet or not.
And then the initial launch may have been like better received if it hadn't been as hyped.
So here's the thing. I always kept it as in my mind as an indie project. It was an indie space exploration game in my mind. That was what it was. And when it launched, I played it and I enjoyed it for what it was in my head. I wasn't expecting multiplayer. I wasn't expecting, you know, huge amounts of variety. I was just like, okay, so this is a space game. There's going to be a little bit of narrative maybe, and you know, it's kind of just pushing procedural tech a little bit. That's what I thought about it, and that's what it was. But
some people were thinking that it's going to be like this groundbreaking. I mean, it did push technology, but people were thinking it's going to be like the game to end all exploration games.
Yes.
Why would you play Red Dead Redemption 2 when you have that?
And to be fair, I mean, when you look at how much work they've put into it over the last 5 years, because they've just recently had their 5-year anniversary, and there's actually, we don't know what it is yet, but there's an update coming out called Frontiers. That is going to be, I think, quite a big one again. It's a completely different game now than at launch. It's
I believe it
not
has
even
been
vaguely the
improved
same.
Hugely.
Oh, it's a huge change in that game for the better.
That's
really
another
cool.
thing about indie studios specifically. Like, they probably weren't being pushed by publishers to improve the game. They were being pushed by publishers to market it and hype it initially.
Yes,
but not necessarily pushed by publishers to make it what it is now after the fact.
Because the publishers were probably like, you know, we'll hype it up, and if it doesn't sell well, then, you know, who cares?
Make something else.
Something else. Whereas they are like Sean Murray and his team, you know, this was their passion project.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he'd been wanting to make this for a long time. So, you know, he decided, you know, I'm going to stick with it and like get it to where it needs to be. And I think also they've done a very good job at, like, they were quiet initially for a very long time. And I think they were kind of, you know, kind of taking in the public perspective of the game and like what people think that it should be. And they incorporated a lot of those elements, because I don't think originally there was ever a plan for multiplayer. That wasn't Sean Murray's vision.
Like, incorporate into a game not designed around multiplayer.
Yeah.
If you don't do that right, you end up with like Fallout 76.
So yeah, I think they've handled it pretty well. It took time, obviously, but it's in a very good place now. For sure.
But so back to Ascent.
Yes.
It's interesting to that's another example of a game where publishers have hyped it and it hasn't been as well received as it was imagined. So now it's interesting to see in the next couple of months whether or not they're going to be sticking with, obviously support and patch it and whatever, but whether they're going to be sticking with it for quite as long to make it into what they really wanted it to be, or whether, you know, that's what it is now and they'll move on to something else.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I think often it's to do with how much freedom that studio has. I think if you're a studio that's like signed up with, like, you know, Microsoft Publishing and whatnot, I think they definitely have some impact on the path that you take.
Yeah.
I think they have impact on the path that you take, but I do at the same time I do think they give people a lot of freedom.
But also another difference is No Man's Sky was like a smash hit in terms of sales, regardless of how well it was reviewed.
Yes.
So they had freedom.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'm just gonna play the Black Myth Wukong stuff in the background while we chat.
Actually heard of it till today.
Yeah.
We've only got the experts here.
Well,
maybe watch it while we talk about it, and
let me send you the link.
Yeah, get your impression.
Yeah, I'll send you the link quickly. All right. This show is a work in progress, so it's going to be a bit all over the place tonight, but that's fine. It is kind of the vibe that I want. I don't want something that's like,
I only want chaos,
structured and corporate feeling, because that's not what indie game dev is about anyway.
Would you like me to eat into the microphone?
God,
maybe we should have like a channel points reward, where everyone has to, like, the next 5 minutes of conversation has to be done with like food in your mouth.
Oh my god!
No,
I hate
terrible. I'm watching the trailer now.
Okay. I'm gonna put it up on the stream.
I'm curious. While you're getting that up there, so Peter, you've seen the whole thing, right?
I've watched most of it. Yeah.
So for the viewers, I'm a hobbyist game dev, and I use Unreal Engine a lot. Like I'm pretty familiar with it, and I have played around with Unreal 5 quite a lot. So going into it, my kind of expectations of what to look for and what to see were like I knew what I was trying to look for. Like now that I knew they upgraded to Unreal 5, but you still dabble in the field of tech design and all that. So you do know how games are made, and you know what the new implementations of Unreal 5 are. But I was wondering, so what stood out to you first with it? Like, did it seem overly impressive? Did it seem like new tech, or?
I'm not sure if it seemed like new tech in terms of the overall look of the game, but I can definitely tell that, firstly, the lighting is a big step up from what I'm used to seeing, like the quality of the bounce lighting and all that kind of stuff. And then definitely the hair and fur work is a lot better than I'm used to seeing.
That's pretty interesting. So the hair and fur, Unreal, I don't know if this is the system that the Black Myth team is using, but Unreal recently released a little Meerkat demo where it was like a showcase of how to do fur and how to animate it nicely and real-time production and all that kind of stuff. But they released that for the public, and while I still think it was using a card system, they have released a strand-based system, strand-type hair, for like rendering hair and hairstyles. It's pretty intensive, so I would be very surprised if they're using the strand system for that. But they've done a really good job with it, and I don't.
It looks very, very good.
They must have done some research into it at least, and taken some tips from Epic. But yeah, they did good.
It doesn't really, like, it's not moving around all that much, but the fidelity level of it is very good.
Yeah,
and they've obviously got some very strong like art direction behind it as well, which I think sometimes with fur tech you kind of lack, because if you're doing like full on like physics fur, it can be hard to get like the exact look that you want. From what I've
Something
seen,
that's definitely standing out to me is the level of like just detail in terms of like the resolution of models of things. It's insane.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that is the main thing that Unreal 5 actually does. So there's the Lumen tech and there's the nanotech. And those are kind of the two things they try and pioneer. I think the other thing that stands out, I'll
get back to that now, what you're talking about, but like how like smooth everything, like you know, like usually you're used to seeing some aliasing or some jaggies and some weirdness. I'm not seeing any of that in this gameplay. Like maybe that's the YouTube compression, but
so it might be the yeah. So the YouTube compression probably plays into it. I don't know what resolution it was recorded at, but I don't have good enough internet to watch that at 4K, so I can't tell. But that being said, there is an upscaling solution with the DLSS, which they are most likely using.
Yeah.
So it
looks very, very good.
So
and another thing, which is kind of a small thing, and it's not necessarily Unreal Engine specific, is and it's been around for ages, but it's cool. All of the characters have like physics-y stuff.
Yeah.
Like cloth, clothes, tails, just like, and it all works so nicely because usually, like, I don't know if you remember old stuff like Red Dead duster coats and stuff where it was always like clippy and weird. Oh, it looks so nice. Everything just on a really frantic moving character. All the physics parts that are not part of the actual character move and like interact really nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the character design and animations are absolutely superb. If you like take a still screen and look at some of those guys, like there's some really wild design. I mean, some of the main characters that you see up front, like there's that eagle guy with like a huge face. Oh, he looks so wonderfully ugly.
I sent that. Bjorn sent me the trailer, and then I sent him a picture back of that eagle guy, and it's like, this guy though.
So there's some wonderful like Lovecraftian Souls-like enemies, like there's that weird the dude with the walking stick. He's got he's got a big fucking cyst on his back and this arm all over it. Oh, it's great. It's so creepy, but like it's so wonderfully done. So a quickie thing.
Yes.
Those models most likely don't have nanites running on them. Skeletal meshes and meshes that can deform in real time aren't supported by nanite.
Yeah, so I heard. Yeah.
You also find that like any translucent surfaces or transparent, nope, can't do that. So nanite does have its limitations, so it's not the be-all end-all.
For sure.
But for like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was released a bunch of years ago, that is a perfect use case for nanite because it has hyper-detailed environments that would benefit wonderfully from it. I'm sure they have some really good tech behind there as well. What are they using? Frostbite for
That's Frostbite, yeah. So I think that game was using what's it called? The Megascans.
Maybe? I'm not too sure.
No, they are. If you go and look at the Megascan website, that's one of the projects that is.
Oh, okay, nice. Oh, shown. I have failed then. So I have. This is a little side thing. I have looked at the Megascans repository so much, like that half of that library is ingrained in my brain to the point where I'll pause series and like screenshot it or try and screenshot it with like Prime and Netflix doesn't actually take screenshots or anything. I'll pause the video and I'll go through the entire library trying to find which asset they use. I mean, like there was one in I know the Expanse uses it. Like I can the silhouettes are so iconic that I can spot that from a mile away. But like Battlestar Galactica, I was so sure they were using it, but like when I go and look at the production times, like Battlestar was done way before Megascan. So it's
that was a while back.
My personal life, and I'm starting to like question my surroundings.
Yeah.
So, but I'm surprised I didn't notice that. So I need to get handily.
No, yeah. So DICE are listed on Quixel, and I'm pretty sure. I don't remember which page it's on, but I'm pretty sure Battlefront 2 is listed there. And I think they probably even used it in Battlefront 1. Because the terrain work in both of those games is fantastic. The level of detail that they achieved in that is, well, for the time, it was pretty mind-blowing.
One of the things I'm most excited about with Unreal 5 is making that type of detail and that tech available to people, because like I don't know, it it's not necessarily that mind blowing, because Frostbite and stuff has been around for ages. It obviously does look better, but the thing is, it seems like sort of a reasonable, like you'd expect stuff to get better and better. The fact that it's accessible to everybody though is the like incredible thing to me.
No, it's insane. Wonderful. And like, I don't know if you guys watch the Corridor Digital channel on YouTube. They, you know, if you ever watch the Node like gaming channel, some of the guys there, and the guys that work on what's the VR game?
Boneworks.
Boneworks, yeah.
Yeah.
They're the guys who made Boneworks, and then they have their digital effects company, Corridor Digital, which is more into like film stuff. So they've been very heavily looking into the real-time production type of things, and like they're finding that, you know, it's not quite there, but it's very, 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 very close to the point where people can literally just set something up at home and, you know, do a motion captured animated movie. So the advances in the last few years have been absolutely insane.
Honestly, looking like I'm trying to do a little short film of my own, and I'm trying to, you know, weigh up the benefits of Unreal 5 and Blender and that sort of stuff. The main considerations for me are that the biggest cost at the moment for me is definitely going to be a motion capture suit.
Yes.
It still feels like it's a core piece that's needed for like mass production.
Yeah, that from what I've seen, it seems to be like the biggest limiting factor.
And I was going to say something else. Blender, like the main drawback is the rendering time. Oh, and the volumes. Volumetrics and like grain simulations that you can get in from like Houdini. Those kind of stuff you can't do with Unreal yet. You can get some sort of volumes in there, but it's not to the scale of you know, high fidelity simulations that you can get in dedicated 3D software. So
what did you know those Warhammer 40k Astartes videos?
They use Blender.
They use Blender, okay.
Yeah.
Because those are flipping incredible.
Yeah. I'm very keen to see what that guy does.
Yeah.
But he was brought up Games Workshop, so there's going to be some stuff.
That's going to be cool. I hope they do like a full length like series or something.
Oh my word, that would be amazing.
That would be incredible. Because like his work is like so well thought out. Like every movement is you know, it's not just random. Oh, I'm gonna put this dude here. Like everything was thought out, and like
something that astounded me was how well the sound design was done. Like that stuff is. I'm not like a connoisseur by any means, but that was obscenely good, and I am going to die here. Sorry.
Okay, we're watching you again, Sam.
I have a little watching. I have a little army here that's slowly following me somewhere. Oh, there you go. But yeah, so I forgot what I was going to say. What was that on about?
Obscenely good. Yeah.
Good. Yes, the sound design.
Sound design. Yeah.
Like, for one guy, like making all of that, that's crazy. And I'm not a connoisseur, but I recognize that is some real good stuff, and I'm jealous of him. I'm jealous of a lot of people, though, but I'm really jealous.
Well, I'm jealous of you guys, and like, you know, what you get to work on.
As someone like moi who doesn't actually have a job, stressful making like spending pretty much every day making a game. And then like I mean I'm kind of at the stage now where it's what people picture game development to be, because I spend like probably most of the day playing the game and then going back and changing things. But not playing the game in a fun way, which is the
I'm really playing
like a silly way that I really, because I don't have enough. I don't actually have any QA. I am starting beta testing soon, but now I can actually give keys out right now.
Nice.
But I don't have QA like for my own pictures and stuff, so I just play and do silly things all day long.
Maybe we should do an episode sometime soon about beta. Might give out some keys maybe.
Yeah,
if you're keen.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
All right. Just on the topic of Unreal Engine 5, still, I think the thing that I'm most excited about is the like the view distances possible with Nanite.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
There's going to be a lot of projects that you couldn't do before that are now possible.
Yeah, there's some really good like level streaming that they have going on. They have it's more for the game developer, like game designers and stuff, but they have like multi-layered open world editing now. So I think they kind of introduced that a little bit for Fortnite because the map is going into so many different changes that like you swap out one little bit of it at a time and save different revisions of it in case you need to revert after that season's done. And so they've added that as like a main feature to their level streaming system now. So it's really cool. Like they had a whole dark realm that they were showing off, and it's like it's the same level but just slight different changes, and it's great. That kind of stuff makes it so accessible for like smaller devs to do like larger projects. So like what the wonder, can I give Fallout 3 spoilers like yonks ago?
Yeah, no, that you're safe.
So there's a wonderful little town in Fallout 3 called Megaton. And one of the big things that you can do is blow up the shit out of Megaton.
I think I remember that actually. I remember seeing videos of that.
But it changes the entire map to the point where like you have to like walk through the ruins afterwards, and it's a really impactful thing because like you can go through and see all the different stuff that's happened, and like, oh, I did this, I caused this chaos. And like for the longest time, I was thinking like, how the hell do you do that in an open world game? Like, because I was a foolhardy little child once, and I tried making an open world game. It did not go well. And like that was one of the questions. I'm like, what if I have like a big gameplay event? Am I just not allowed to write that into my story? Like, okay, this is the world that you start with. That's what you get. And it's just nice to have those little tools. Like they really do speak to devs a lot. They're very active on the forums. These are the Epic guys now that I'm talking about. And I'm a simp for Tim Sweeney in most regards. Like, look, Epic has some shitty business practices when it comes to Epic Games Store.
I mean, any big company is going to, unfortunately.
Yeah, but when it comes to devs, like they are hands down, like the best ones that I've seen in the field. And props to them. But also, I just want to say that because keep in mind that I've been using Unreal for a long time, and I am very biased. So
yeah. No, I understand. I understand the context.
Do you think because of all that accessibility that they've started creating, we'll start seeing like an indie game Unity, like an indie game wave, like made in Unreal, like there was in Unity not so long ago, when like people started getting into Unity, and then
most
a
likely
wave of Unity games. It might be the same thing with Unreal, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Luckily, they'll look better, which is cool.
I think what I'm really excited for with UE5 is the potential of upgrading the UE4 projects and like waiting to see like which existing projects are going to get upgrades.
I do wonder how easy it is, because a couple of like older games that I play, I was actually really surprised to hear on like Unreal 3 and stuff. Like Killing Floor 2, it's on Unreal 3. Rocket League's on Unreal 3. I know they're kind of older now, but the thing is, like, they look like good, and they're on I don't even know if they can upgrade at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure about 3 to 5, but yeah.
So I know even the 4. So Unreal 5 released when Unreal 4.26 was in stable development. Unreal 2. Wait, no, sorry. When Unreal 4.26 was released, then came Unreal 5, and now there's Unreal 4.27, and they've said that you can't upgrade from 4.27 to 5. So when Unreal 5 is released stable, because it's still experimental, the Black Myth guys are taking quite a risk. Then you can upgrade from any 4 version to 5. But I don't know if there's any conversion from 3 to 4. So there's that.
Yeah.
Just a little side note, I have been playing around with Unreal 5 for a bit, and I am not comfortable using it for a project yet. Because I can't package shit properly. I don't know if it's probably just me, but also I don't know.
To be fair, Black Myth does say on Google planned release is 2023.
Yeah, they've still got it
They're
like
still
a
developing
while.
in a beta watch. Yeah.
Yeah, they've still got a while ahead of them. Like I think I think they might have. I don't remember if there was. I don't think there was a release date before. When I first saw it.
I would imagine if they weren't going into Unreal 5, the release date would probably be sooner.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Good little nuke here.
Because it looks really good already. It looks pretty, in terms of like how far indies are taking games, it looks like really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's probably a case of, they've got all of like the majority of the core stuff working. And now it's just a case of like actually fleshing out the game and making sure there's enough content and
also
enough stuff to do.
A lot of the tech tends to be like the visual stuff that is layered on top of what the game's actually doing, because the most of the difficult part of making a game is like the
logic and the math
layer,
and everything.
The bottom layer beneath the stuff that looks good.
Like
so
to use,
really the decision to go over was for those visual like enhancements.
Yeah, like to use No Man's Sky again as an example. Like, Sean Murray had been, fiddling around with the procedural tech for like years before there was even, a game. It was just him fiddling with math, essentially.
It's same thing with Noita, actually. I saw a talk about it, and the guy was talking about having made the like tech, like the physics simulations and stuff for Noita ages before they actually started even working on a game, and then just decided, this is fun. How do we put it into a game? And that's why the gameplay loop is really simple. It's like the fight things and move downwards, because the fun actually just comes from the fact that it's.
And I think that is, like as I said earlier, I think that is kind of a separating factor of indie games, where there's some central mechanic or idea, or there's something central that somebody has had an idea about, and now they're building a game around that. Whereas with a AAA game, there's a checklist, and they're like, okay, we need this feature and this feature and this feature, and it has to be,
I also find that it might actually be that the indie games that do focus on, like, know their identity and focus on something and get it right are the ones that feel better. Like Ascent may not have actually focused on, like, you can't define one well done, like the specific characteristic that makes the game what it is, but you can in No Man's Sky, in Noita, in
so
Black Myth,
like the Ascent, I know I brought it up as like being slightly more negative, but I think the people that are enjoying the Ascent are enjoying it. Like, it's not a bad game. It's also like reviewed.
I didn't mean that at all. It's
reviewed fairly well. I think it's just like not, it was overhyped.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't mean to bring it up as a negative thing.
I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. But back to what I was saying. It's I definitely feel like the indie games that are received the best are the ones that understand, focusing on a mechanic, and the thing that makes their game interesting is the reason people will be like wanting to play it, and those things set the game apart. So getting that right is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
But
we'll definitely have an episode focused around that, because I know you've put a lot of thought into it for your game. In terms, like in that aspect, I feel like from what I've heard from like speaking to you about it, it seems like you had like a core idea or theme.
Yeah,
pretty early on.
It came from like my PC, like not necessarily being able to push the tech in terms of development. So rather going in the direction of pushing like mechanics and ideas and things. Not to say that games that push tech can't push mechanics and ideas as well. Clearly, games are doing that. With Black Myth has some really, really interesting ideas and concepts.
Yeah, it's not in that trailer, like that most recent one, but they had a gameplay thing from way back where you could like transfer your consciousness into a bee or something, or dragonfly or whatever it was, and you would like
different creatures.
And I think a part of the gameplay mechanics is like disguising yourself as, environmental objects and whatnot, and like hiding.
I think a thing that I'm super excited about with that game is exploring a different culture. Super cool.
Yeah.
Very exploring other like folklore and things.
Yeah, no, I always enjoy exploring other cultures, folklore. And like even countries where you don't really necessarily think about there being folklore.
Yeah.
Like like Australia, for instance. Nobody talks about Australian myths and legends and stuff, but they exist. They're out there. They have their own set of mythological creatures and all kinds of stuff.
Legend has it. There is a non-poisonous creature somewhere in the jungle.
We've yet to find it. We send our kids every day.
Find it and protect it.
And they find it, and it's a great white shark.
Oh my word.
But anyway, that's it does look really good. I've not actually seen it up until this point, but it's cool to explore. I think that's another thing about indie games that's exciting, is that they will explore. There's so many, like, I don't know, predictable medieval fantasy games or modern warfare games or World War II games or whatever.
I mean, you only have to look at like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like,
and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you saw that they announced Call of Duty Vanguard, which is another take on World War II again. And everybody's just like, so what?
Yeah. Do something super crazy. Do like a take on like the French Revolution.
Cool.
Which I think like, it's in a way, I think they've done it partly for the new Battlefield game. Yes, it is a familiar setting for the most part, but they're trying new things with it, which I think is the important thing, and they've definitely brought that across in the marketing so far. Like, the build your own game mode, thing is not something that has been done in the FPS space all that much, to my knowledge.
That's definitely the place.
Apart from Halo, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely the place I think games like that can explore the most, is not necessarily in their mechanics stuff, but like in what they actually provide to the player. Super exciting ideas.
Yeah. And I am interested in that world currently, because normally you would have like a yearly or every 2 years have a new game, whereas I feel like the model for those larger AAA games has shifted to a game as a service model. So you have a game that's supported for maybe 5+ years, with new content and with visual upgrades if that's possible, and all that type of thing, like basically the Fortnite model. And I think we're in an interesting period at the moment where it's going to be like the older school execs at these big companies are going to be pushing for, we need a game every year, whereas the younger guys are going to be like, no, we need games as a service. And I think because like they have like their EA financial meeting thing where they basically chat to investors about the state of the games, like what they're planning to do, and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes like it is publicly available, because sometimes they will like reveal new details about the game that they haven't revealed in the like at E3 or whatever. But with Battlefield, they have already said that in terms of the like production plan, that they are already working on the next one, which doesn't really fit with how they're marketing
Working on the next like season or the next
game, and I don't think it's decided yet. I think that's just how EA works at the moment.
Yeah,
where it's like, okay, we've launched this game, the next one needs to be in development already because it needs to come out in a year or year and a half. Whereas now you're gonna have like it's already happening with Call of Duty, because like when that launched, it was very much its own package, and then they added on Warzone, which was a games as a service, and now everybody's playing Warzone. And then they launched Black Ops, the new Black Ops, and then that got bolted onto Warzone, so now it's all like one package. And I don't think they've really figured out like what the plan is there.
It has been a bit more confusing than any of the other.
It's super confusing because like I bought the new Call of Duty to play Call of Duty, like the team deathmatch, gun game, all that kind of stuff, and I enjoyed it for that. When Warzone came out, they literally like I opened up Battle.net, and it was no longer, Call of Duty. It was Warzone, and I was like, "Where's my game gone?" So I don't think they've fully figured out, how to transition into this new kind of model as yet. And I think it's going to be kind of interesting. And I think games like Call of Duty and Battlefield will be the ones to kind of pioneer it in a way. And obviously, Fortnite, games like Fortnite. Although games like Fortnite, I think, have easier time of it because they're essentially like a free-to-play model.
Yeah. I think in the future that may be the thing that does set AAAs and indies apart from each other.
Yeah.
As we were saying in the
like
beginning.
Like the amount of like long-term support and funding that goes into something.
Indies can work on something for 5 years, like No Man's Sky, and
but
make
it's
it
not
good.
the same.
Not
like
seasons.
It's not seasons where you're literally getting new content like every month.
They're not scrapping huge sections of No Man's Sky when the new update comes along to like just as this is a new game essentially. It's reskinned like new season of No Man's Sky.
It's interesting, but technically they have done that because they actually have had a universe reset for the really big updates where they've changed how the like procedural stuff works. And it's actually kind of interesting because on some of the planets, if you dig down far enough, you can see the old planet underneath.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
You can like see the original like ground texture and stuff.
I wonder
for the planets, because like the way that game works is that when you visit a planet, it generates that planet at that point in time. And then the server remembers how to generate that planet. So if another person comes to the planet, it just regenerates in the same way again. So if they reset the procedural stuff, they basically just put it on top of the old generation, I think. Because like, they've changed basically everything about how the procedural stuff works. There's new terrain, there's new like debris items, there's new everything. And I don't think it integrated well with what they originally had, so they kind of just like reset everything. But obviously, there were some planets that went a bit funky, as it will with procedural stuff.
I'm gonna have to reset the game real quick, so I don't know if the stream is gonna work.
Okay, no worries.
There you go. Sorry about that.
No worries. But yeah, no, it is definitely a different process and a different vibe between releasing a big update for an indie game and seasonal content.
Yeah, I do see indies obviously supporting their games, but like the seasonal content and the games as a service seems like the direction AAA games are going to go in.
I think the main difference is that with seasonal content, it's expected and it's part of the marketing. Whereas with indie game updates, it's like, oh, cool, there's a new update with new content, but it's not like, they're not, when the game launches, they're like, outlining, okay, we're going to do update X through Y. It's, when they get to it, they get to it.
Yeah, indie games, it's like, oh, there's a new update every 6 months. This is amazing. These devs have like really put such a effort into making
I'm
something.
amazed every time No Man's Sky comes out with a new update. Like, it's super exciting. Whereas with seasonal content, it's like,
if they don't release every like 3 months, then you're like, oh, these devs, they just don't care about their audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a very different vibe. But yeah, I don't think they've really figured out how to shift their development cycles at the big companies yet.
The line between indie and like AAA is also more blurred because you just hear about more and more teams actually having publishers and like big amounts of funding, which kind of defeats like the definition of an indie game in a lot of ways. But they're still releasing clearly indie games. So it's an interesting conversation to have. What are you doing, Sam? I've never actually seen this part of the
game. I'm cheating. No.
Okay.
It's secrets. It's nightmare mode. So I'm probably going to last 2.5 seconds. So watch closely, kids.
Well, let's say we will. When you die, then we shall end. And now you're never going to die.
I'm gonna stand here.
And yeah, that's that.
Nice overhang, lightning can't get me. I can see for miles around me. I've got a fucking machine gun. Like, I can just go crazy.
It's literally gonna last as long as the tech in your computer lasts.
To RAM overflow.
So what are the Noita devs up to at the moment?
I'm not entirely sure. So the 1.0 release was the last like big release they said they were going to do. It seems like there's still a couple secrets that the community hasn't solved yet, and they have said that some of them we shouldn't worry about yet because like they haven't added enough in. That doesn't stop the community in this game is insane. These people are.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, so essentially, we know that more stuff is coming. But it seems like the major stuff, like the major reworks and all the huge content is kind of is gone for now. But there is so much in this game. Like it is. If you're watching now and this interests you even like a smitten, know that you have not seen any of the game. Like there is so much more. There are millions of secrets. Not millions of secrets. There's trillions of secrets.
Get some No Man's Sky marketing up in here.
It's a multiplayer. Yeah, sure, why not? There's no multiplayer. It's no multiplayer.
We're not trying to sell Noita, and then we're not sponsored by Noita.
I'm trying to sell Noita. Buy Noita. No, it's well worth your money.
Yeah. So maybe we can just end off with like what are you guys playing at the moment?
Right now I'm playing Noita.
What new stuff are you looking into at the moment?
There's this cool game called Money is Time that wait, no, time, fuck, I can't even name my own game. Time is Money. This cool dev is making it. And it's for the SA Physics Jam. I've been playing that for the last 3 days. I haven't stopped playing it. Barely playable, but it's getting there. Devs promised they'll update it hopefully sometime before next week.
Nice. It's actually really, really cool. I've seen the demonstration.
I need to check it out still. Maybe you must send me some stuff and I'll put some stuff in Discord.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna spam it around. I'm very proud of it actually. Fuck being humble. I'm king. Oh shit!
There we go. There we go.
Timing.
That was something. Oh, it's still going. It's still going. Oh, now we've got gas.
Oh, wow.
And there's a giant worm, and he just exploded as well. Oh, there's more.
What a way to end this
I think you just blew the world up, Sam.
Wonderful.
All right, before we go, Rock, are you still in game dev mode? Are you playing anything new at the moment?
So I just got a new PC. But I'm actually not enjoying it. Well, I'm enjoying it. But I'm enjoying developing on it. So I'm basically just playing Heartless Dark.
Nice.
Like, every single day.
Yeah.
But it's weird things because it's like it's implementing Steam achievements, which is a lot of like back and forth, patching my own game, testing it in Steam, and so yeah. It's going well. It's going well. The like, I'm feeling tight for time, but yeah, we can chat about that another time. But yeah,
we'll have a show
I mean,
about that. Yeah,
I played the Hunt Showdown last night for the first time.
nice.
So I have enjoyed the new PC.
Yeah,
but I feel like because the deadline is getting really short on the game, I feel bad doing stuff that's not the game. So yeah, but it's fun. It's going well. And I'm in the game's in a place that I'm very happy with.
nice.
I do feel weird chatting about it when we were chatting about like such incredible tech and like the accessibility of Unreal 5 and stuff, and like the game is using weird little cheats where things are 2D but hidden in the darkness, so you actually think they're a 3D model and all sorts of like. But yeah,
I think that's still cool though.
It's too late to switch to Unreal 5 now from Unity.
No, from what I've played, I'm very excited for it. For sure.
I've played a lot of it at this point. I wish I had some way to track the hours.
Yeah.
I may have played more of it than I've developed, which is too long. Like, anyway, we'll chat about that another time. But thanks very much for having me.
No, thank you guys for being here. I think it's gone pretty well. I think we've stuck to the vibe that I kind of want to go for. Yeah. So the plan going forward is I will try and get like some sort of central topic for us to kind of chat around, but I want it to be like this where it's kind of like flowing from topic to topic and idea to idea, and the central topic is kind of just a kind of point to come back to and something to kind of keep things flowing nicely. And then we'll alternate between this having like random games in the background like Noita. Maybe Sam, you can do like Caves of Cud or something at some point. And then if there's like very interesting projects or like projects that you guys are working on, we can have episodes that are focused like solely on that.
Nice.
Which I think will be fun, and maybe we'll get some other people involved as well. So yeah, thank you guys.
Cool. Thank you.
It's been fun.
Great to be on.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we'll see you guys next time.
My chair's breaking.